Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us where sports truly meets that thing called life. And thank you for being patient with us a couple minutes here this morning as we got set and ready to go. We are inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. And Great Lakes Honda City is coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday, so make sure you go and visit them at Great Lakes Honda City, and we appreciate everybody who has, and we thank you for being with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and for supporting Great Lakes Honda City, and cannot thank you enough for that. We're up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you so much for tuning in to where sports meets that thing called life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And we are also back on MixLR.com /WakeUpCallDT. So we want to let you know that and appreciate you for being there with us on MixLR.com /WakeUpCallDT as well. So want to give a shout out to them. Kind of a soft reopening of us being back on there, and we'll be doing something bigger to celebrate that coming up here in the not too distant future. So make sure that you stay tuned for that here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And I cannot thank you enough for being a part of the show. Always happy to be here with you, and I hope you're having a good morning. If you're not, we're going to make it better. If you are having a good morning, well, we're going to keep it going. So however your morning is going, however your week has been, thank you for being with us, for spending some time. I know that one of the things that you can't ever get back is when you give of your time. So I do not take that lightly for those of you that spend your time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We truly appreciate it. We've had a ton of fantastic guests that have been on the broadcast throughout this week. And of course, last week we had a ton of specials that aired while we were down in my second home in the great state of Florida. So I'm very, very grateful to everybody that's been on the show, all the wonderful things that we've gotten to do, and everything that is to come up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And like I said, when we speak about what's coming up here on Wake Up Call, we got some great things on the show that are set here for you today, and I'm very excited that we're going to be able to bring those to you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We're going to start things off inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', giving you the annoying moment of the week. The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at the Baked Potato Express, led by Dylan Husted. We'll do that first, then we'll jump into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. And that is the acronym proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Then I will announce my top dog of the week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. And from there, we will have a special conversation that you do not want to miss a second of. Truly a conversation that I believe God anointed himself and gave me the wonderful pleasure and opportunity to speak with someone about our Lord, about our community, about Syracuse Challenger baseball, about the Superfield of Dreams. So do not miss a second of that with Executive Director of Syracuse Challenger baseball, as well as the concept creator of the Superfield of Dreams, Dom Cambareri. My special with him will air today at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and then it will re-air as its own individual special at noon Eastern Time, in case you missed it, or if you want to be able to go back and share it with family, friends, coworkers, and colleagues. So a lot of great stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and let's get things started with something that happened to me today that reminded me it's the annoying moment of the week. That's right. Proudly presented by the Baked Potato Express. If you want the Baked Potato Express to come to your event, all you got to do is send them an email, thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com. That is thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com. Send them an email today. Let them know you heard about it from Wake Up Call, or you can just say, I heard it from DT. That's easy enough to remember. My initials, DT. And the Baked Potato Express, out at so many events publicly and privately here in our community of Central and Upstate New York. They're going to be at the Battle of the Wings today, May 15th, and on Saturday, May 16th, they're going to be out at the amphitheater throughout the summer for the concerts. They'll be at the New York State Fair, and they could be at your event, but you have to email them and set that up. So send an email to thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com. Today's annoying moment of the week, folks. Let's hop right into it. I cannot stand when I'm trying to get into a lane, especially if I'm trying to get off of an exit, right? So I'm trying to get, let's say there's a left lane, there's a left lane, there's a middle lane, and there's a right lane. And I got to get off an exit. And there's a car sitting there, and they're driving just fast enough that it's like, okay, I might have a car in front of me, so I can't drive too fast, and I can't slow down too much because there's the car next to me. So there's a car in front of me, there's a car next to me, I got to get off the exit. So I'm trying to find that middle ground where I can speed up enough, but then slow down enough where I can get in front of the car on the right and not hit the car that's in front of me. And then you finally get enough space, you get into the right lane, and what does the car do that was partially blocking your exit? They move out of the lane and they go into the lane that you were in. It happened to me today. I don't understand it. Why would you block a lane that you don't need to be in? It doesn't make any sense to me. It never has. It never will. The people that sit there and partially block or fully block you from getting into the next lane, and then when you get in that lane finally, when you're able to get enough space, that person that was blocking you doesn't even need to be in that lane, and they move off into another lane. And you're like, what was the point of that? What was the point of blocking somebody from getting in to where they needed to get to in a place that you didn't need to be? It doesn't make sense to me. It never has. It never will. I don't care what anybody says. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make logical, rational sense. So that's one thing that's on my mind that I need to share with you today. And so I am. And so I would say that. And then the other thing is just, the construction. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Not only is there construction on multiple highways in Central and Upstate New York, but on top of that, they have construction on bridges, off ramps. You can get on this ramp, you can't get off that ramp. Or they're building this ramp. This ramp might be available today. The other ramp's not available today. And then on top of what ramp is available and what ramp is not available, you have the fact that sometimes when you drive by Destiny USA, there's 3 lanes. Other times, there's 2 lanes. Other times, there's 1 lane. So you can drive there at noon today, and we could have all 3 lanes open. Then you can drive at 3 o'clock today, and there might be 1 lane open. And then tomorrow, you wake up early in the morning, and there's 1 lane open. And then later in the day, there's 2 lanes open. So you never really know what's going on. So in order to anticipate traffic, you have to be willing to leave your house very early. Wherever you got to be, whenever you got to be there, you got to leave a heck of a lot earlier than whatever that time may be so that you can make sure that you're someplace on time. Because I commonly am having to get off the exit by Destiny USA and just find my way around the city to go around the construction that's in. So I look at the highway, I see the highway's backed up, I see they're down to 1 or 2 lanes instead of 3 lanes, which a couple weeks ago they had 3 lanes. I don't know what's happening now, but apparently they're working on another bridge. So then I decide to get off of the highway, and then I have to come around, and they're redoing that entire area. So you come around there, and there's all cones there. Then you get to the light by where the new Syracuse Aquarium is going, and there's all construction there. And then you make a left, and then it's telling you to get back on the highway, but then you feel like there's still going to be traffic, but then you wonder if there's construction, and then you get to a light, and then you come off of that, and then you have to drive down a bunch of lights, and then you have to come around the bend the other way. I don't know who made the decision. I don't know if it's like Kathy Hochul's office or if it was somebody's office here in Syracuse. I don't know if we have to talk to the governor or if we have to talk to the mayor or who we need to talk to, but it's outrageous, okay? And I'm not going to point fingers at anybody. I'm going to say, and I apologize if I did that before. I've had enough. I've had enough. This is my city is like a jigsaw puzzle right now. And You're trying to get from point. I mean, if you've never been to Syracuse, I wouldn't even know how to tell you how to get around now. I'd be like, you know what? Pull over in a Dunkin' Donuts and I'll pick you up. That's how I feel about it at this point, because it's insane. And the thing is like, you have all that construction by the Inner Harbor, and then what's this weekend? Battle of the Wings. So you got all that construction, you got the vehicles there for the aquarium, you have the construction coming off the highway, you got everything going on construction-wise by Destiny USA. So, like, where are you going to put the people that are parking for the Battle of the Wings? How are you going to work that out? Have you thought that through, or are you just going to throw your hands up and say, well, they're going to have to just adjust? Because where are they going to park? You know, I mean, I got to think about that. I have a bunch of clients that are down there, people that I care about and want to see succeed and have great days. And in order to do that, you have to have ample parking, and parking that is self-explanatory, right? Because I don't think there's going to be necessarily, I mean, it'd be nice if there was, but I don't know if there's going to be people at parking attendants out there helping us. There's enough at Disney. They could probably send 47 of them out to Syracuse. Have you ever been to Disney and parked at Walt Disney World? And listen, I'm all about bringing in employees and giving people jobs, okay? I'm not going to be against giving people a job. It's just, what is their purpose in the job? Because when you go to Disney, and I was there last week, you go to Disney, right? And let's say the park opened at 9, you get there at 10. So they've been parking all these lanes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, down and down. Now they're parking lane 17. Now they're parking row 17, right? But rows 1 through 16, people have left. I worked at Disney. I know that people, they park at 9 o'clock, they're gone at 9:05. Maybe they dropped somebody off. Maybe they needed to get something. Maybe they needed to check something. Maybe they changed their mind. I have no idea, but they're not all there. So when they're parking people throughout the day, park opens at 9 and you park row 1. Then by 10, you're parking row 17, row 20, whatever it may be, 17, 18, 19, 20. Then by 10:30, 11 o'clock, you get an influx of people. Now you're parking row 34. Well, those first 33 rows, somebody left. Now, when you go to Disney, the parking attendant, they're all in row 34, and there's 19 of them pointing you down a row. There's a person in front of you going, go down this row. There's a person 5 feet from them saying, keep going down this row. 10 feet from them, go down this row, go down this row, go down this row. There's a whole line of people going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, and they're all hands in the same direction. But here's the thing. Rows 1 through 33, there's open spots. So do you really need 10 people pointing in the same direction at Disney? Or can you have 2 of those people have walkie-talkies, right? And they go up and they look at rows 1 through 33. They walkie back to one of the people, the main person. They have that tower or whatever. And so maybe they walkie to that tower. I don't know if there's ever anybody in that tower. So maybe you walkie to them. Maybe you walkie to who's ever in row 34. And you say, hey, between row 5, like, send some people up to us. We'll stand in the rows. We got 12 spots open, right? Rows 1 through 33, we got 12 spots open. So bring some people up and we'll put them in the spots. Because why are we making these people park at the end of the park and walk for 5 miles when there's people that left? And that's what happens all day long. It happens all day long, where they keep parking people farther and farther and farther away, and then they put them in another group and another group and another group and another group. And then when you go to leave the park, you're like, there's 12 spots in row 5. There's 19 spots in row 10. There's 7 spots in row 11. There's 14 spots in row 13. And they're making people park in row 56. That's an annoying moment to me, because I know, like I said, I used to work at Disney, so I know that they have open spots. And all I'm saying is, well, Dan, how can you get those people to those spots? Well, if you have 72 people pointing down the same row, can you take 3 of those people and have them walk? And again, have them walk the rows, give them walkie-talkies, they can see what's available, and when they go down the row and they see what's available, they say, yep, we got send 5 cars up, we got 5 spots, right? That's all you got to do. You don't send the cars up and go willy-nilly, hey, try and find a spot. But you bring the cars up and say, okay, we got this spot, we got that. Listen, if you have 10 people all pointing in row 34 to keep going, instead of having 2 or 3 people do that, you can take those other 7 people, divide them up, go to the rows 1 through 33 as an example, and see what's available, and then walkie it back, and then bring those cars up and let those people park closer, because there's no reason to have open spots by the front of the park and be parking people 17 miles from the front of the park. If there's open spots, then let those people park there. They pay enough for parking. Disney's only raised their prices on parking. It's astronomically insane. I think it's $40 to park at Disney. I think it's $40 to park in general parking. That's on top of buying your tickets, which are almost $200 a day. When I worked there, it was under $90 a day. So you got, and they fluctuate. So you could be going there, it's $150 today. It's $174 tomorrow. It's $200 next week. Why has it got to keep going up? Well, because we have busier times. Well, you already doubled your prices. You weren't going to charge for the Fast Pass. You charge for that now. So the Lightning Lane you charge for. You charge single or multi-lightning lane. So you charge for the thing that you weren't going to charge for, and you started charging for it during COVID. That was so kind of you, like many companies, to bend people over during the pandemic and go, oh, are you worried about dying? Are you worried about your loved ones? Well, guess what? When we finally let you come out of your house, everything's going to be more expensive. Wasn't that so nice of America to do? So you've raised your price on something that used to, number one, it used to be free. Now it's not free. Then you upped your parking from 25 to 40. Then you upped your tickets from 86 to 170. And then you raised your food prices. So here's my thing with, and it's not just Disney, it's with anybody. Here's my thing for the House of Mouse or wherever you go. Why are we raising our prices everywhere? Okay, when people say, hey, I got to raise my price a little bit, Dan. Gas is expensive and this, that. Okay, I understand. I'm a businessman. I understand you got to raise your price a little bit, but did you have to raise your price everywhere? Did you have to make something free now cost money? Did you have to add $15 to your parking? Did you have to $100 to your general admission for your one day, one park? And then did you have to make your burger go from 15 to 17? Did you have to raise prices in every single place? This used to be $5, now it's $7.50. I mean, I get Frushi, the fruit sushi, during Food and Wine. I will crawl there to Japan to get it. And it's fantastic. But I think it used to be like $5, $6. Now it's $7.50. Why is it $7.50? And there's less on it now. There's no raspberry drizzle on it anymore. They did add another sushi. So instead of 3, you get 4. That's nice of them. But for $1.50, I mean, it's just not... It doesn't make sense to me. And I grew up where like Disney was where you could go and be a big kid forever. And I love that. And I look at it now, and the way that they charge people, it's criminal. I mean, I'm going to give you an example here. So let's add these things together. So let's say you could go to Epcot for $86, right? And then your Fast Pass was free. So you didn't have to worry about that. So 86 plus 0 is still 86. Let's say your burger was $12, and let's say your parking was $25. So you could go to the park for a day for $123. Okay? Let's go to it now. Your ticket is more than the entire thing I just gave you. So your ticket's, instead of 86, it's 187. So now I get a $187 ticket. You want to buy just one Lightning Lane, so that's $21. Your burger's now $17 and your parking is $40. So what was $123 is now $265, which is more than double. And they say, well, Dan, that's just the price of doing business. No, that's the price of greed. That's the price of greed. Because whether Disney raises their prices or doesn't, some of these big companies are still going to make money. Do you really think that your iPhone is worth $1,100? Or was it made in China for $10? I mean, this is not, and I'm just using that as an example. I don't know where the iPhone is made. Maybe it's made and maybe it's not. But I'm just saying, you think that thing costs $1,100? Really? I don't think they cost $400. So it's just, to me, you look at the big racket, and if you're a company that's big enough, that has enough power, they push that power around. And as a business owner, I don't see the value in doing that. I don't see the value in saying, thank you for being such a, like to me, for Disney. I've been going to Disney all my life. Thank you for being such a loyal guest at Disney. Thank you for coming here for 40 years of the 40 years you've been alive. What we're going to do is punish the heck out of you, but we appreciate you being here. We're going to make it 2 to 3 times more expensive for you to come here. Now, I know the price can't be the same price as when I was 5 years old. But the price in 2021 and the price in 2026 went up. Well, Dan, that's 5 years. Okay, it doesn't need to go up the way that it's gone up. It doesn't need to do it. They're charging for everything. They're charging for everything. I'm surprised that Disney doesn't charge for water. When you ask for an ice water, that'll be $17. Like, it's just, it's stupid. And it's criminal. And like I said, Disney's not the only one, but I'm making an example because I've experienced it so much at Disney. But why are we doing this to people? Right? We pay gas prices because we have to. We go on vacation because we want to. But you're not supposed to go on vacation to be stressed out. You're not supposed to go on vacation and go, wow, this vacation used to cost $3,000 for the 3 of us. Now it costs $5,500. It's almost double. That's not fair. And Disney, and I say why? And they're like, well, because so many people are in Disney, they have to have population control, right? There's too many people in here. And so if they raise the prices, they can weed some people out. Well, why do you want to weed those people out? And there's people, and so what, it's just going to be for rich people? But then you go and you look at it and you're like, there's a lot of people that are not rich that are here. So, it just doesn't make sense to me that we punish people the way that we do in this society. It's not fair. So to recap the annoying moment of the week, if you're in the right lane and I have to get off the exit and you're blocking me, and then as I finally get in front of you and get into the right lane, I see you move immediately to the lane I was in, I want to smack you, but I'm a peaceful person, and I don't know why people do that. Why do you block a lane when you don't need to be there? And why does the lightning lane cost money? It's all about lanes. So that's what it is. The annoying moment, proudly presented by the Baked Potato Express. If you would like the Baked Potato Express at your event, well, then get in touch with them. Go to thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com and send them a message about your event. And of course, you can see them at a bunch of events that are going on here in our community, including this weekend, Friday, May 15th, today, and Saturday, May 16th at the Battle of the Wings in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. They will also be at the Lakeview Amphitheater throughout the concert series summer that we have. They'll be at the New York State Fair and more, of course, at Great Northern Mall weekly as well. So make sure you get in touch with them. If you want the Baked Potato Express at your event, then email them at thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com. That is thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com. We'll take a step aside for a fast break inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. When we come back, it is time for Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Chick-fil-A Cicero.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. It could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to Buffalo, they're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community community any way we can. And I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We hope you're having yourselves a wonderful morning this morning, hanging out where sports meets that thing called life. It is time to jump into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver is the acronym, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero, and I can't take credit for the acronym. God help me make it. So that is Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. I was trying to come up with an acronym that fit, where each letter could mean something that all flowed together and made sense together, while also the word itself having its own specific meaning. And lead was the thing that was born out of this, and I'm grateful to God for helping me come up with this idea, which I came up with during COVID, or right before COVID happened. So here in the States, it was like the end of 2019 going into 2020. So it was perfect timing because we've had to learn, evolve, ad-lib for sure, and deliver. So I'm happy that we were able to bring this to life, and I'm happy that Jim Sikowski and his team picked up what we were putting down. Today's topic for Lead, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero, the first Chick-fil-A in Central New York on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York. Today's topic, I Can Only Imagine. This is one of my favorite songs, and I would play it for you, but Facebook and YouTube would yell at me. So, I Can Only Imagine is a fantastic song, and I want to read you some of the lyrics to the song I Can Only Imagine. So, it says, I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes would see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, and this is all speaking to God. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. Speaking of Jesus, S-O-N. I can only imagine when all I will do is forever, forever worship you. And then it comes back to that chorus. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. That song just gives me pause. Makes me sit. Makes me think, it gives me chills, honestly. I can only imagine, right? Our imaginations run wild. They always say when you watch a scary movie that it's almost better when someone who's creating that scary movie doesn't show you the monster, right? A lot, because your mind is making it so much worse than it actually is. Think about the movie Signs, right? We don't see the alien until almost the end of the movie. We see shadow. We see something really quick. We see a hand. But not until the end do we see it. And that's M. Night Shyamalan saying, I know your imagination is going to make this even better than I can make it. And by the time you see it, it might be like, oh, that's gross, or wow. But M. Night Shyamalan is very smart because he knows if I rarely show it to you, you're going to build it up in your mind. If I show you it in pieces, or I show you it in blur, or I show you it quickly, and I show you cut away. Even when I show you, I don't show you for a long time. I know your brain is going to do the work for me. Because our imagination thinks of things on its own, and sometimes it'll sensationalize something, sometimes it'll make something really bad, worse. Or maybe it pictures something that's good even better, right? I mean, I remember there was, in the Journey into Imagination building at Epcot, there was a Michael Jackson special there. And when I was 4 years old, I remember standing in line with the fireworks, and it was dark, and there was a bunch of people, and I was standing in line to go to a Michael Jackson concert, and Michael Jackson was going to be right in front of me. And that's what I remembered as a kid. I remembered as a kid that it was a Michael Jackson, concert that I was thrown into his world, when in actuality, it was a ride. But my imagination remembered it as an even more heightened experience. So our imaginations can take something positive and make it bigger, or it could take something negative and make it worse. So that's one thing I think about when I think about imagination, is our imagination is capable of anything, right? If you dream it, you can do it. And it's important that we control our mind and our mind doesn't control us, because again, that imagination, what are we using it for? But when we talk about God, I can only imagine how I'm going to feel that day, right? When I see Jesus, when he walks toward me, and hopefully God says to me, "Well done, good and faithful servant." I am flawed. I've gone to confession more times than I can count. I've sinned more times than I can count. I am not a perfect human being. I strive to know my Lord. I strive to bring God to people every day. I hold myself accountable. I am on my knees every single day, speaking to God, praying to God, asking God for forgiveness, telling God thank you, praying for something that's important to me. If my legs hurt, I'm kneeling. If my head hurts, I'm bowing down. If I'm exhausted, I'm praying until I fall asleep. Because though I am a flawed person, because I've chosen to sin when I don't have to, I still know my Lord, and I know what's right, and I know who he is, and I get to know him so much more. I've gotten to know God through my pain a lot more lately. And not saying I have more pain, I'm just seeing things differently now. God's given me a great life. I see things differently than I used to. When God doesn't give me something I want, right? When somebody that I want to date, it doesn't work out, or we date for a little while and it fizzles out. I would get mad. I would get upset. I would say, "God, why'd you do that?" And he's like, "Are you kidding me? I showed you repeatedly who this person was. Why did you let it go 2 months? Why'd you let it go 2 weeks? Why'd you let it go, a year? I showed you. So you're asking me why I took it away? Why didn't you leave? Why did I have to take it away? Why didn't you just walk away?" And I think that's been a conversation between God and I for a long time, is God knows what I want. But in order to get what you need, you have to let go of things that are not right for you. I started my business because I left a company that didn't value me, appreciate me, pay me well, keep their word, keep their promise, I was completely disrespected where I was. I don't want to say completely disrespected. but I was disrespected. So I started my company when I didn't have a lot monetarily, but I had the imagination. I could imagine what it was going to be. And it's better than what I imagined. See, that's the thing. We talk about our imagination with a movie where we can picture something better than it's going to be or worse than it's going to be. But then you look at God, right? You look at where human beings stop and where God continues, right? That God is not, and that's a fallacy of human beings, is we think that God thinks like us, acts like us, is the same as us. Yes, God came in human form as Jesus Christ, but if we think that God goes as far as the human being can stretch, we don't know God. God goes far beyond what we can do. So when my imagination either thinks of something even bigger or whatever it is, right? If my imagination works for the positive or the negative, I'll tell you this. The imagination that I had to create my own company, God made it infinity times bigger than what I could imagine. So my imagination might make a villain in a movie look even worse because I haven't seen it yet. So I'm thinking of something worse than what it is. I'm sensationalizing it, right? I'm thinking it's going to be this and maybe it's not even that bad, or I think it's going to be this great and maybe it's not that great. That's why I don't try to get hyped up when I go to a movie. I'm like Avengers Doomsday, I'm excited about it, but I don't want to get overly hyped, because if you get really hyped and it lets you, then there's a chance it could let you down. But if you go there even keel, then, there's a better chance that maybe you can enjoy it, right? That you'll have fun. So if my imagination goes into, remembers the Michael Jackson ride, right? And it remembers it as a Michael Jackson concert, or I got to meet Michael Jackson or be close to Michael Jackson. That's not what happened, but my memory is better than my experience. So what I'm saying is my imagination made something even more incredible. Well, then let's take my business as an example. God took my imagination that made something incredible, and he made it beyond what I could even imagine. So I can only imagine, if my imagination can run wild and be so positive and think of so many wonderful... I've always had a great imagination, and I have to harness it, because my imagination can be huge in a bad way or it can be huge in a good way. But when I imagined my business, as an example, I could imagine what it was going to be. God made it far greater than I could have ever imagined. So what I'm saying to you is, if our imagination can make something better than it actually was, and then God can top that, he can top the top, know that he's always working for you, with you. I mean, he's not your employee. I'm not saying that, but God is always working for the betterment of you, is what I'm saying. Right? For I have plans for you, to prosper you, to help you, not to hurt you, not to harm you. God says that in the Bible. He declares it. I have plans to make your life amazing, great. I have plans to take care of you, to prosper you, not to hold you still, not to make you fall backward, not to fail, not to have you fail. I have plans to give you a hope and a future. You have to trust me. You have to trust me. I have tried to tell God for years what he needs to do for me. And that was wrong. Because if my imagination on creating my company was so positive that I did it, and then God turns around and goes, yeah, but whatever you imagine, it's going to be that much better. I know I have a big imagination. I know I'm a creative person. I know I'm a person that believes in uniqueness and originality, that is going to be innovative. I'm going to create things that don't exist. I'm going to put my stamp on things. I'm not copying from anybody else. I'm not even paying attention to what other people are doing. So I can't copy from them because I'm not even looking. I know that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do I'm going to bring whatever's in my brain and on my heart to life. I know that because I have that. I've always had that imagination and that fire and that determination and that passion. And I believe I can do anything. I believe I can be Spider-Man. Maybe God's not going to let webs shoot out of my wrist, but I can work out. I can be agile. I can learn how to flip. I can do stunts. I can have them suspend me off of a building and I can put the suit on, can't I? So, I mean, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Somebody might have told him he could never be it. Maybe they told Andrew Garfield he would never be Spider-Man. Maybe they told Tobey Maguire that he was never going to be Spider-Man and how stupid that was to think he could be a comic book character. But guess what? They've all been Spider-Man. So there's nothing that I think I can't do. And I'm not going to be around small-minded people because I'm not a small-minded person. I'll pray for those people. But I can't be around somebody who's small-minded. I have to go and do things that maybe don't make sense to other people, but it's on my heart. And I have that passion and that imagination, that creativity. But what I'm saying is God is better than me. Whatever I can create, whatever I can imagine, when I said I'm going to start my company, I'm going to go onto the internet. I'm going to do internet radio. At that time, I didn't plan to do internet TV. I wasn't even thinking about doing video. At that time, I wasn't going live. I was pre-recording. At that time, I wasn't 5 days a week. At that time, I hadn't created Commissioner Corner, the annoying moment of the week, lead, top dog of the week, Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, the ingredients to success, fantasy football. I haven't done any of that stuff in my company yet. Well, fantasy football I kind of had started, but everything else. So I hadn't done those things yet. And I didn't know that they were coming. I trust myself and I trust my ability, but I can only imagine when it comes to the big guy because he's better than me. And when I think about God and I think about that song, it makes me want to drop to my knees every time and praise God because how beautiful will that day be when I see him? When I get to worship him in his presence and people say, well, heaven's got to be fun. Heaven's got to be like an amusement park. I don't want to just worship God all the time. I worship God all the time here on earth. I'm always talking to God. We are always having a conversation. He is always more important than me. And when I don't act as such, I check myself. I don't like egos, so I don't want to have one. I don't like selfishness, so I don't want to be that way. I think about our Lord. I see the world differently. I've been getting chills this entire conversation. I call it the good chill, where I feel like God is going, he's rubbing my shoulders and he's going, keep going, Daniel. You're getting somewhere. Keep going. You're finding me. Show people who I am. Let people know. Give them your light. I put it in you for a reason. Give it to them. God is everywhere. God is in license plates I saw this week. When I was at Epic Universe with my mom and we went to get on a ride, we went to get on the first ride we went on, How to Train Your Dragon. Dragons bring me back to my grandma because I watched a movie, a VHS tape that we rented from the library when I was a kid. My mom used to rent my grandma books from the library and she would rent me movies. And I would go to my grandma's house and we would watch the movies together. And one of those movies was about a dragon. And I go back and I think about that movie and I think about my grandma. And so it's my mom's mom. It's G-Mama that I always talk about. So I think about G-Mama all the time. I miss her. And I'm with my mom and we're going on a ride about a dragon leading back to my grandma. My grandma's husband, my Papa Cavino, my grandpa, his number 13, my number 21. 2113 have been coming to me together for many years now as 213. I go to the How to Train Your Dragon, the Isle of Burke. We're about to get on this ride, Hiccups roller coaster. We're about to get on it, and you got to put your stuff in a locker on certain rides. So I go up, it scans your face, and then it opens up a random locker. What locker did it open? 213. G-Mama connected to Dragons with my mom, her daughter. My mom's dad, my Papa Cavino, his number 13, my number 21. We go to the Dragon ride, connect back to my grandma. I go and get a random locker, connect back to my grandpa. I can only imagine. That song to me is saying, whatever you think God is bringing to you, it's better. Whatever you think you can't get through, you're going to surprise yourself. You're going to be stronger than you thought you were. You're going to be smarter than you thought you were. You're going to be funnier than you thought. You have the capacity through God to achieve anything. I don't believe that someone is just not funny. Like, they're just not funny at all. There's like no comedy to them whatsoever. They might need to find it, harness it, maybe be more positive of a person. But we all have the capacity to do something great. I don't believe that God creates talented human beings and untalented human beings. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that some of us got the luck of the draw. If God loves all of his kids and we all matter to him greatly, why would he create tiers of us? Here's my tier 1 humans. Here's my tier 2. Here's my tier... No, we choose who we want to be. We choose what we want to chase. And a lot of us settle, which cause us to be negative, which cause us to not really appreciate life. And maybe that takes away the comedy, the smiling, the imagination, the childlike whimsy, the kid spirit. God exists in every nook and cranny of life. And what I've realized is God exists in that license plate I see, and God exists in that 213, and God exists in that movie, and God exists in that quote. I went to a church this morning, and I'd never been in that church before. What did the church have right above the door? Be still and know that I am God. What's the cross that I found in my house that I still don't know who got it, where it came from, or whose gift it was? And I opened it up after my divorce, after like my wife and I separated and became my ex-wife and got divorced and all that. I open this up, I find this cross. It's got flowers on it, and it says, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. Never knew Psalm 46:10. Never knew that Bible passage. Didn't know how that thing got in my house. Didn't know who it was for. Didn't know where it came from. Took it out, put it on the wall, touch it pretty much every day that I'm home. I go to a church this morning, of any church I could go to. I find that church. God leads me there. And what's the thing he shows me first? Be still and know that I am God. And he does that all the time in my life. It's him going, I'm here. You were supposed to be here. You're supposed to be here. You were supposed to have this conversation. You were supposed to meet this person. You were supposed to come here. I cannot tell you how many times I've said to God, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I supposed to be doing that? Or you subconsciously kind of say it. Like, I don't know if this is right for me. I don't know if this is where I'm supposed to be. And he goes, yeah. Right? I went to the doctor yesterday, found out that I have to have surgery. So I'm driving through the parking lot. Who's in the parking lot? A guy that I met at GG Cards and Breaks trade night. Wonderful human being. And he says to me, what are you here for? And I say, well, I got to have surgery. He said, what doctor? I told him the doctor. He goes, wow, of any doctor that I could choose for you, that's the one I would choose. If I ever needed surgery, that is the doctor I would go to. Like, that is a great choice. So what are the odds that I find out I might have to have surgery? My primary care doctor, I get referred to a person that I don't know. My mom talks to a friend who had surgery from this person. They said, no, call this person. I go in and see my doctor. I say, can you refer me to this doctor instead? I get referred to that doctor. I go visit that doctor yesterday. Then I'm in the parking lot and I bump into a buddy of mine who knows that doctor, who tells me if I ever had to have surgery, that's the guy I would go to. So now I feel like even more so, I'm in good hands. So think about that. Think about all of those things that had to happen. That wasn't my referral. My mom gives me one name as a referral. that name I end up going to, and then what happens? I bump into a buddy that goes, yeah, I know who he is. I've only heard good things. Great choice. If I got to the parking lot any earlier or later, wouldn't have saw my buddy. Wouldn't have had that conversation. What if he didn't know that doctor? What if he goes, oh, okay, I'm not familiar. But he knew him. And he was like, you'll be all right. And I feel like that was God saying to me, hey, good choice. You're on my path. And I can't tell you how many times God has said, yes, you have. And this is the thing, folks, don't think you don't have free will. Don't think like, you're just, like no matter what you say or do, your life is not your own. Don't think that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is God has a way of saying to you, good choice. You're in the right spot. You're on the right path. And he also will say, bad choice. You fell off the path. Let me get you back on. And I've experienced both. And when people say you can't hear God, God doesn't talk, God's too busy, God doesn't have time for you, what would make you think that God... I'll tell you this right now. God will do something during the show, after the show, when I leave, my studio, when I'm driving around today. He will show me himself. He already has. He will show me himself somehow, some way, which will tell me, yeah, you're on the right path. Or you fell off of the right path. Let's get you on the right path. Or maybe we're done with this path. It's time to be on another one. Maybe it was right up to this point, but it's not right anymore. The Lord does not fail you. And I can only imagine. Every day when I wake up, I can only imagine the mysteries that he will show me, the things that I will learn, the love that I will have, the adversity I will overcome, the strength I will find in weakness, the power I will find in pain, the joy I will find in sacrifice, the laughter I will find after something that I thought I couldn't handle or get through. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. This has been Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. I can only imagine what that day is going to be like when I get to see God. Again, surrounded by your glory. What will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? Reading that chorus, it makes me want to cry. It chokes me up every single time. Surrounded by your glory. What will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? That one gets me every time. Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. So the next time your imagination runs wild, make sure it's positive. Because whatever you've imagined, prayed, and hoped for in your life, if you serve God first, serve God, not people, serve God, not this world, whatever you imagine, it will be far better. How do I know? Because I'm living in a life that is beyond my big imagination. And if you knew how big my imagination is, how positive I am, and how much I believe in things when I really care and have passion for it, and I tell you that it's even better than that, it's not a million better, it's not a trillion better, it's not a zillion better, it's infinity. Whatever I can imagine, my Lord has brought me to my knees in gratefulness, because he has brought it even better. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. What will you imagine today? And how will God surprise you? Chick-fil-A Cicero, Shout out to Jimmer and the crew. Make sure you watch Jimmer's story on youtube.com, facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on X at CallDT. We'll be back right after this fast break inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Thank you to Chick-fil-A Cicero, the first Chick-fil-A in Central New York.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily?
Hello, this is Dylan Husted, the owner of the Baked Potato Express. We do mostly big festivals or big corporate private events. Typically just big festivals such as Taste of Syracuse, a food truck battle, Battle of the Wings. I do the state fair. They're ordering from a fresh food truck that is making real food and happy to make it and wants them to enjoy every bite. We season every potato before they go in the oven, and then they bake for an hour, and when they come out, we season them again after we cut them. We use real butter, real cheese, real ingredients, so it's all really good food, and people love it. We have a lot of returning customers and regulars that we see very often. The customers really make a big impact. It's a big food truck community. The events here are super busy. It's like in my blood. I like building things and creating stuff that people love. And me and my friends are the ones that run the truck. So it's we keep it's a tight circle in there, and we have a family sort of oriented truck, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a good time doing it, and people love our food, so it ends up making it well for everybody. You can contact the Baked Potato Express at thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com or the Baked Potato Express on Instagram or TikTok. We are very happy to be partnered up with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as the exclusive sponsor of the Annoying Moment of the Week. And be sure to try DT's baked potato creation at all of our food trucks. The Baked Potato Express. Let's get baked.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Chris Rauda.
And Colleen Rakowski from Gray's Craze of Clay.
It's a fun, innovative, upscale catering solution. We've turned eating into a whole new experience. Each of our boards is packed with delicious mix of artisan cheeses. We use premium cured meats, fresh fruits, nuts, and all of the sweet touches that really bring out the best in every perfect bite.
We offer something as small as a grab and go that feeds 1, maybe 2 people, to our large board that can serve anywhere up to 25, 28 people. So we have the ability to really meet and hopefully exceed all of our customers' expectations when it comes to the different varieties of things that we have.
Charcuterie boards or boxes are healthy, fresh, delicious. They're made to order. We're baking the breads here daily. We're baking the cookies here daily. All of our dips are homemade, made in-house. All of our spreads are all made in-house.
When you open that board or box that we have delivered or you have picked up, we want you to know that it was made with care and designed to completely elevate your event, celebration, or meeting.
We've catered parties and events for up to 300 people. So if you're walking in to grab something for lunch or something for date night or movie night, that's great too. Our events go from you eating in the car on the way home to a catering event in a rehearsal dinner or cocktail hour or party.
When we do, again, know what the event is, specifically for a wedding, we like to schedule tastings so the bride and groom can come in and see what we have to offer, and we can then, as we talk, to try to understand what they're looking for, what the venue's like. We do like to have that one-on-one interaction when it comes to catering bigger events.
Our address is 4599 State Route 31, Suite 5 in Clay, New York. We're on the corner of Route 31 and Henry Clay at Clay Marketplace.
You can order on the phone by calling area code 315-409-4171 or online at grayscraze.com/clay-ny. Come visit us at Gray's Craze of Clay, New York,
where we want you to celebrate everything.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're gonna have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Happy to be here hanging out with you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets life, and very happy to be back on MixLR. That's right. We were with MixLR for many a year, a bunch of years, and had the opportunity to connect with them on internet streaming radio. And then, of course, we're on Podbean, and Podbean had live streaming, and they're doing away with their live streaming on Podbean. So, I mean, everything that we have on Podbean, over 2,000 episodes and everything that I air there, that's going to continue to go. We've been on Podbean since 2012, so you'll continue to get shows on Podbean and, of course, Amazon Music, Audible, and so on and so forth. But we're back on MixLR for the live side of things. We were live on MixLR, internet streaming radio. Then we switched to Podbean. Now we're back to MixLR, but we're also still going to have our shows on Podbean in the archive. So make sure that you connect with us and join us once again on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We're always happy to have you there. And of course on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It is time now for my top dog of the week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. There's no better place to leave your dog for the day, few hours, whole day, whatever's going on. You can head over to K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare today, 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. How do I know they're wonderful? Well, the people behind the music. Lorraine and Chad and the team, I appreciate everything that they're doing. I've known Lorraine for many years, and they do a wonderful job. They have a self-serve dog wash there. They have a store for your dog that has harnesses, leashes, collars, dog cookies, dog food, toys, so many wonderful things for your dogs, and you can get all of that. Go to their store, the self-serve dog wash. It's all part of the daycare. So it's not simply just a daycare. There's plenty to do for your dog and for you at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. You can call them for more information at 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110. And of course, you can go online to get more information about the daycare by going to K-9 Kamp.com. That's K-9 Kamp.com. So who is my top dog of the week for this week? Man, it's got to be, I know I said the construction is frustrating, that we have so much construction in central and upstate New York, but you know what? I got to give my love and my support and my appreciation to the people that are doing the construction. So it's not their fault, right? You get paid to do a job and you show up to work. And so, you know, they might be putting the cones down, they might be doing this and doing that, but the reality of it all is the ones that are out there that are doing the work, that are putting everything together, don't be mad at those people. Don't be upset with those people. They're out here working. They're working hard. They're working diligently. They're trying to make sure that you have what you need for the future, right? Because these roads aren't just for now. They're for today, tomorrow, and the next day. And hopefully, you know, building them and constructing them in such a way, these roads and bridges and ramps and highway and all this, is that we're creating these roads that are going to be sustainable for us for many years to come, and beyond everything else, they will be safe. That is what we hope for. So to the people that are out there working hard when it's cold outside, when it's raining, when it's snowing, when it's muggy, when it's hot, when it feels unbearable, cold-wise or heat-wise, thank you for all that you're doing. We appreciate you tremendously, and I just want to show you love because, listen, a lot of us are frustrated, myself included, with the fact that for some odd reason the state of New York decided to tear up all of these roads at the same exact time. That it's like, let's do the ramps and the bridges and the highway and the side street and this road. And the thing is like all these highways are under construction. And then they're like, well, let's now do construction at 31. Let's do construction at 57. And it's like, really? Right now? You can't stagger this. You just got to rip everything up at the same time. So to me, that was something where, it can be frustrating when we're driving around and there's so much construction in so many different places. It's not like, okay, there's one piece of construction, so we're dealing with that, but at least we can go this route or at least we can go that route. Sometimes in central and upstate New York right now, it feels like no matter what route we take, we're right by construction or we're in construction. So it can be frustrating and it can be annoying. But what I want to tell people is the people that are out there working, they're just doing a job, right? They got hired to go out there, drive those trucks, put that cement down, move this, build that, deconstruct that, put that cone down. And they're the ones that are on the job working hard. Whoever made the decisions to cut up all the roads at the same time, that's not those people. The people that got the hard hats on, they're the ones that are working hard for themselves and their families. And I just want to say thank you. Because even though construction may make things take a little longer, may be frustrating, the fact that you're out there building all of this stuff and putting it all together and making it safe for us, hopefully, and building it with the best products that you can find and not cutting corners. I just want to let you know, to my non-corner cutters and to the people that care and to the people that are out there doing great things, I just want to say thank you. So though it is frustrating to have the roads torn up, I do want to give credit and respect and appreciation and love to those that are out there doing a very difficult job that very few people would go out there and do. So I just want to say thank you, because our construction workers don't get thanked enough. They don't get appreciated enough, and they don't get talked about enough, frankly. So here on the show, I want to send you my love, my support, and I want to let you know I see you. So keep working hard, keep doing great things, and know that you are, in fact, very much appreciated. God bless you all, and Godspeed in getting things done, safe and healthy and happy. May all be well, and may you get home to your families and get to spend quality time, because I know that construction can be overnight and really early in the morning. So I thank you for all you do. God bless you. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Our Lord. Amen. Top dog of the week, shouting out all of our construction workers here in central and upstate New York and beyond. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. Send your dog there for daily care on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. 437-7110 is the number to call. 315-437-7110. And of course, you can go to K-9 Kamp.com. That's K-9 Kamp.com. We will take a step aside for a fast break, and we'll round out this week with a very special God-centric and divine conversation with Dom Cambareri, the executive director of Syracuse Challenger Baseball and concept creator of the Superfield of Dreams that will be unveiled at Carrier Park this weekend on Saturday, May 16th.
Hi, this is Gina Husted. I'm part owner of Skippy's Ice Cream. The other half is my better half, Don Husted Jr. When somebody comes up to the truck and it's a family, it's nice that the older generation is nostalgic and they can tell the younger generation, back in my day, we used to have the truck around our neighborhood. So now you're lucky because the truck can come to your party, and you're lucky that this truck is at a festival and you're getting to buy the ice cream. And basically we're ice cream that comes to you now, specifically comes to you, not for you waiting for us, we're coming to you. We will do neighborhoods if you have a block party. We do birthdays, we do anniversaries, we do celebrations of life, we do wedding showers, we do festivals, we'll do corporate events, we have a lot of corporate picnics, we have family reunions, so it's a whole wide range of whatever party you have, we'd love to be at. We're so appreciative of the community, always coming up to us at festivals and calling us to have different events. We have a lot of return customers. We always have people coming up to our truck. We're always there for the community. We always try to give back to different organizations and fundraisers, and so I think the community sees that. We like to give back to them. This is where we live. This is where we were raised. This is where our kids were raised. So the community is very special to us. I mean, obviously, we've lived here our whole lives. So it means a lot that they come up to our truck and that they choose us because we're just there to please the community and deal with as many people as we can in this community, because this is, like I said, where we were born and raised. If you'd like to get in touch with Skippy's Ice Cream and have us at your next event, I would suggest using our email, skipthecake, SKIPTAGCAKE, skipthecake@gmail.com. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us, and that's going to get the fastest response from us. If you choose to call, if you don't have an email, then you can call 315-456-9750, and we'll be glad to get back to you as soon as we can. Skippy's Ice Cream, the original ice cream truck.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Proud to be here with you. Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and all the time online at greatlakeshondacity.com. I am picture in picture with Dom Cambareri. We were talking off the air here for a little bit about Syracuse Challenger Baseball. He is the executive director of Syracuse Challenger Baseball and the Superfield of Dreams concept creator, many years in the making, and we get to celebrate it here in mid-May of 2026, the opening of the Superfield of Dreams, and putting a spotlight even more so on Syracuse Challenger Baseball. We got a lot of things to talk about today with Mr. Cambareri. Dom, how we doing?
Dan, good morning. I am excited to be here with you this morning to talk about my favorite subjects, Syracuse Challenger Baseball and the Carrier Park Superfield of Dreams.
And for you, Dom, for what was it that, kind of inspired you wanting to have Syracuse Challenger Baseball, to create something like this, to bring something like this into fruition? What is your why on how this all came to be?
26 years ago, year 2000, my wife and I, we brought our 6-year-old son to Syracuse Challenger Baseball. We had found out that it was a Little League division for children with special needs. And we contacted the parents that ran it at that time, and the league was small.
Yeah.
And we wanted to enroll Domenico. And they said to us, well, we'd love to have him, but there's no room on our rosters. We have a difficult time sometimes finding fields for our kids to play.
Yeah.
And we only allow somebody to come in when there's attrition. And unfortunately, there was no attrition. And we had to miss a season of Challenger Baseball because of that. You imagine being a parent or a caregiver and being told, there's no room for your son or your dog. It was tough, but we came back the next year and we asked again.
Yeah.
And they said, well, nobody's left, but one of our coaches has stepped up and said, they will take your son, and a whole wonderful world opened up for him. He got a chance to play baseball side by side with many of his peers, and there were children and young adults of all differing abilities there, and it was a tremendous experience for us. 3 years later, they needed someone to run the program, and nobody stepped up to do it. And my wife encouraged me to volunteer to run the program. Not only because our son had found, a home with a great game of baseball with his friends during the summer, but also because we wanted to give back to the rest of the Challenger families and their players.
Yeah.
We wanted to have this league continue to be vibrant. So I did. I volunteered to run the league. And the first thing I did, Dan, was I opened it up to as many kids with intellectual, developmental, physical impairments as we could handle. Went out to the schools, went out to the community programs and told them, listen, we're open for business. In 3 years, we tripled in size, and we realized that Challenger really needed some all-accessible fields to call their own.
Yeah.
And, fields where children and young adults of all differing abilities can play a variety of sports. That's when the dream started for the Superfield of Dreams. 2006. I searched for 4 years for some land and a community partner, and it wasn't until 2010. One day I walked into the office of my friend Ed Michaelenko. He was the town of DeWitt supervisor at the time, and I lamented to him that I'd been searching for 4 years to find a community partner and land to build this Challenger Field of Dreams. And he looked at me with a big smile and he said, Dominic, why don't we bring your Field of Dreams here to DeWitt? That was it. That was the inspiration. That was the key moment. And wouldn't you know it, that within 6 months of that conversation that I had with Ed, he had worked out an arrangement with the Carrier Corporation for them to donate their 26-acre former employee recreational center.
Yeah.
Right off of Carrier Circle. It was as if our Field of Dreams had been like divinely dropped into our laps after the initial conversation. And we had the land, we had the community partner, and so we just had to take the concept to the public after that. And now, we brought that concept and we worked on a design and a plan for 2 years, brought it to the public in 2012, 3 phases, and now on Saturday, May 16th, we are going to unveil the most incredible Superfield of Dreams in Morris Challenger Field, where kids, all ages, and all abilities will be able to play baseball, softball, soccer, lacrosse, football, field hockey. We have all accessible, state-of-the-art basketball courts and a special needs playground. It's just a magnificent, multi-sport, all accessible complex, and the celebrations that will take place on Saturday.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you said there that I want to branch out to. One of the things is just how incredible God works. In your story with your son Domenico, that there's not a space for him at 5, but then you keep trying and a space opens up for him. Then the people that are running Syracuse Challenger baseball step away, you step in. So it went from your son didn't have a spot to now you're running the whole thing. And then one of the decisions you make that you made mention of was, well, if I'm going to run this, I'm not going to let anybody come up here and feel like my son Domenico did. I'm opening it up to everybody. Let's take in as many as we can. So I'd love to go to that point when we hit adversity and we say, God, why? Why isn't there a spot? Why isn't there an opportunity? And then you have faith. You trust in God. You and your wife, Valerie, keep working. Domenico gets an opportunity. And then within a short amount of time, God not only said, okay, Domenico, you're on the field, but now he's going to flip it and allow you to make the decision on letting more people in. How crazy of a full circle moment was that for you to not have a spot open and then be running the entire Challenger baseball program in Syracuse to open it up to as many people as you want?
And it can only be attributed to divine intervention. I mean, that's the bottom line. We know as people of faith in God that we have to experience trial and tribulation so that a greater good comes out of it. That's where the faith part comes in.
Yeah.
Right? We don't think as God thinks. But if we are faithful to Him and faithful to His plan, and if we utilize our God-given talents and gifts in an other person-centered way and help other individuals become the best version of themselves, God will take care of the rest. And that's why all these incredible mini miracles happened the entire time. I mean, who would have thought that our difficulty with getting Domenico as part of this wonderful Challenger program would ultimately lead to this magnificent, multi-sport, all-accessible park where kids of all ages and all abilities and all backgrounds are going to be able to play. Maybe we can't understand that concept completely, but God can, because with God, all things are possible.
Well, and there's a verse in the Bible, and I want to make sure that I read this correctly here. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. How is this Superfield of dreams truly embodying Jeremiah 29:11?
It goes right to the heart of giving our assent to God, that if we follow His ways, things will work out the way that they're supposed to work out for us, for our family, and for our community. Jeremiah embodies that. The quote from St. Francis embodies it. You start by doing what is necessary. Then you do what is possible. And suddenly you are doing the impossible. That is exactly what we've done with the Challenger kids, the Challenger program, and the Carrier Park Superfield of Dreams.
And I find it interesting, going off of what you said. The first sign that my mom gave me when I moved into my first apartment out of college in Dunmore, Pennsylvania, is a sign that is in my studio today. It's right over my shoulder, and it's literally right here. And it says, "Hope makes the impossible possible." And you talked about doing what is possible, and then before you know it, you're achieving the impossible. I have yet to experience this, Dom, and hopefully the next time we talk, maybe I can say differently, but you have a partner in your life. You have a wife who not only is there with you and for you and your family, but there was something that Valerie said to you when the people that were running the Challenger baseball program in Syracuse decided to step away. She said, quote, "You know what you've got to do." What is it like having a partner in life that doesn't stand between you and your dreams, is not jealous of those dreams, and is always pushing you to go after what you want? That not only did you maybe feel in your heart God telling you to do this, but that your wife looked to you and said, "Dom, you know what you have to do."
It is because of my wife's great dedication to me and our boys and the other parents and their children that Challenger has become the incredible league and safe place for all of our families, and for Carrier Park to turn into reality. She understood that as people of faith in God, it is our duty and our responsibility to share our joys, share our difficulties, share our gifts and our talents with others so that they can experience the same amazing things that we experienced once the medical became part of the program. You know, when I am out there working with my Challenger colleagues, you know, I have tremendous volunteer colleagues that work with me side by side, talented parents, like Jennifer Savastino and Dee Perkins and so many others. My wife knows that she needs to keep everything held in place and keep everything running here in our house if I'm out working with them to make everything better for the kids. So she's the rock. She's the foundation. And I was inspired by, you know, my wife's inspiration. And, you know, it is God's way of demonstrating how a marriage that believes in God can do and accomplish the great things for the purposes that He has set aside for us.
Dom, this is the first time you and I have spoken, and I have chills when you're saying certain things here today. And I already know that though this is the first time, you're kind of stuck with me now.
Great.
And what I love about
I'm looking forward to that.
and I'll tell you this. So I grew up on Court Street, and I know you know my dad, Ralph Tortora III. And so I grew up on Court Street, and right by our house, there was a home for people with special needs.
Yeah.
And I would come home on the bus from Our Lady of Pompeii School, and one of the people that lived in the house, one of the gentlemen that lived in the house, he would come over to the Big M market that was there, and he would wave to the bus pretty much every day. And I remember there was one day, and I try to not get choked up when I talk about this, but there was one day where he came over to the bus, and I knew he was going to be, you know, I anticipate him being there, and I'm a little kid, I'm in elementary school, and I go over to the window and I see him. Well, one of the girls on the bus tells the other kids on the bus in my class, "Hey, let's all flip this kid off. Let's all open the windows and let's all give this guy the middle finger." And so most people obliged. And I looked at him through the window, and he was paying attention to me. And I said, "Just keep your eyes on me." And I tried to keep him from seeing any of that. I just wanted him to focus on me. I wanted him to know I appreciated him being there. I value him. Well, there was another man in that house that when I would play basketball in the driveway, one day he stopped and he just watched. Didn't say much. He just watched. And something about growing up by that house and seeing them walk by and seeing them wave at the bus and just wanting the best for everybody in that house, and saying to my mom, you know, I feel like people with special needs, they just seem to be happier. They seem to get life better than a lot of us do. And you could see God in them. You could feel God in them. And there's always been a mission in my heart to do something with people with special needs, because it's just always meant something to me. And during COVID, I'm in Wegmans and I'm going up and down the lanes, or up and down the aisles, and I see that there's a bunch of people there with special needs, and there's, you know, aides there, and they're getting groceries. And I walked by one of those guys all these years later.
Yeah.
And I didn't need him to know that I was there.
Yeah.
I was just happy to God to see that he was still doing okay, because I always just wanted to make sure that they were okay. So we talk about God's divine intervention. I've always had this on my heart. I want you to give me something to do with Syracuse Challenger baseball, Dom, because I want to help.
Great. I have several comments. First of all, I experienced chills just hearing you tell about your experience. But I totally understand it, and I know why. It's because, Dan, you have been capacitated. How have you been capacitated? Well, nature abhors a vacuum. If we empty ourselves of the ways of the world, the Holy Spirit will fill the void. And all of a sudden, your eyes will be opened. Not the way that people attached to the world see, but the way that God sees. And the Holy Spirit makes that possible. You were given the great gift, even as a young boy, to be able to see God's child exactly as God would want you to see him. And you have continued to carry that with you because you continue to leave room for the Holy Spirit to fill you up and allow you to see the way that God wants you to see. That is a tremendous story, and we should be grateful that we're able to receive those kind of messages from the Spirit. The Challenger has opened my eyes even further. I can tell you that back in 2006, when I was sitting in church one day, and I was listening to the priest give a homily, and I heard a voice, that said to me, "You take the gifts that you've been given, and I will take care of the rest." That was it. That was the moment that I knew not to fear going out and seeking a community partner, finding some land, and making a field of dreams become reality, not only for our Challenger baseball kids and their families, but for all kids and all families. And here we are, 20 years later. And look what God has done. Not only has he inspired us, he's inspired all these talented people that have made Carrier Park a reality. These are incredible people, Dan, with amazing gifts, amazing family stories, amazing drive. And that's what it took. It really took a village to make this happen.
Yeah.
But it really took God to be the drive.
And what I love about this, being a native of Syracuse, New York, and of this beautiful community of Central and Upstate, is that not only is this Superfield of Dreams nestled in the heart of Central New York and minutes from where I grew up, but it takes a name in Carrier and it brings that life back. Growing up with the Carrier Dome, seeing that Carrier area, right off of Carrier Circle. I mean, you grow up and you saw Carrier Dome, Carrier Circle, you see, where Carrier had been for so long. And when the building started to go away, there was a piece of that hit me, because it was part of our history, part of our fiber. My mom told me something, and this is God bringing everything together. She told me, she goes, your grandfather, Thomas Cavino, she said, that he was sworn in because he worked in law enforcement. he was sworn in at Carrier. They had an event there. So where I will be is going to be on the ground of my grandfather, where he stood, and where Carrier stood, and now where this Superfield of Dreams is. What does it mean to you that a place that is so nostalgic, such a part of our history, that any central and upstate New Yorker that really knows this area knows that Carrier is such a fabric, it's a part of the tapestry of who we are. It's always going to be woven into our quilt, so to speak. So to have this Superfield of Dreams reinvigorate and bring life to that area again, what does it mean to have that field on that ground?
It means that we are continuing the legacy of Carrier. And part of the legacy of Carrier is not only, its place, significant place in New York history and American history, but its legacy is the thousands of workers and their families that have been part of everything that was important and good in central New York for literally the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And we're continuing that. Faith, family, friends, community. That's what Carrier was about. That's what the Carrier Park Field of Dreams is about. And we're spreading that message now to our new generation, okay, to our kids. And that's a great thing. Let's think about that for a moment. Our children and our grandchildren right now, their ability to grow up in today's society is more complex than ever. They are constantly bombarded with worldly messages and messages of self-centeredness. Okay? Yeah. It's up to things like Carrier and Carrier Park and Syracuse Challenger Baseball to bring our kids back, okay, and let them know what is important. Faith, family, and community. That's what God would want to see of us, and what God would want us to impart to our children. And that's what we're doing here. I mean, so many amazing things happen because of that. This Saturday is a perfect example of that. I grew up with a wonderful woman. Her name is Christine Corona. Chris grew up less than 2 minutes from where the Carrier Park Field of Dreams currently sits.
Yeah.
Her next door neighbor and one of her best friends in the world is none other than Tom Kenny. Okay? Tom's dad, I understand, worked for Carrier for many, many years. And their families, the Coronas and Kennys, used to picnic, at the Carrier Recreation Center, now Carrier Park. When Chris found out what we were doing with Syracuse Challenger Baseball, and especially with the grand opening of the Field of Dreams, she was ecstatic beyond words that the place where their families had enjoyed many get-togethers was going to be this magnificent park that was going to be open to all families and all kids and all abilities. The first thing she did was call Tom, and I'm sure many of your viewers know Tom is the originator and voice of SpongeBob SquarePants. He loves children, loves families. When he found out about Carrier Park, he sent us a message and said, basically, I am going to set everything aside so that I could come to East Syracuse, New York, and be there on May 16th for those Syracuse Challenger baseball kids and the grand opening of the Superfield of Dreams. How great is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Clear, it's part of that legacy that we've been talking about. The legacy of Carrier, the legacy of family being woven into the fundamental fabric of what defines every local American community. And that's what's happening. It's incredible.
It is. And again, just showing how small this world is, with Tom and his father having worked at Carrier, growing up right there, picnicking there, and now having the opportunity to come back with all the successes he has had. I want to give some notes here on Syracuse Challenger baseball and then overall. So for those of you that don't know, and you can go to SyracuseChallengers.com and get this information, but Syracuse Challenger baseball is not only a place where special needs children and adults can play baseball, the community welcomes all children and adults to a relaxed setting where everyone, regardless of age or ability, has the opportunity to create friendships around the team sport of baseball. The Syracuse Challenger baseball is the nation's largest and longest running baseball league for individuals with special needs, and it's right here in our community. The Challenger League in Syracuse is the oldest Little League program for special needs children in the country. It was started in the 1980s by parents in Eastwood, which is incredible because that's where my grandmother, my grandparents on my dad's side, my grandma and grandpa Tortora, where they grew up. It was led by Skip Sewell, and who wanted their children to play baseball. Because of the commitment of those parents and parents who came after, the league has grown to become the largest Challenger League in the United States, with over 250 children and adults playing baseball under the umbrella of the local District 8 Little League. Syracuse is proud that their parents, volunteers, and local businesses have continued to support this league and make it the envy of leagues around the country. The league is comprised of 6 teams for children under the age of 15, 2 senior leagues for players who want to experience a more difficult, 2 senior league teams, I should say, for players who want to experience a more difficult level of play, and 8 adult teams for players over 15 who want to play with peers. Our players have various special needs, physical handicaps, and developmental delays. The age range from 4 up to our oldest player, 60 plus years old in the system. Yeah. So I'd love for you to share Syracuse Challenger baseball a little bit more, to give that background, to piggyback off of that, Dom, the fact that this is not only Challenger baseball, which we see around the country, but it is the oldest league in America. And we are talking about the numbers that continue to grow and the ages that can be from as young as 4 all the way to beyond 60. I'd love for you to share with us even more of the fiber of what is Syracuse Challenger baseball.
We talked earlier about opening the league up and making sure that every child who wanted to play had the opportunity to play. It was that success, and my fellow director, Dee Perkins, will remember this as well, that allowed us to nearly triple in size between 2003 and 2006. By 2010, we were up to almost 200 players. Yeah. And we had already had a need to have multiple accessible adaptive fields, but that need became even greater the larger we got. Yeah. And that fueled the need for the Superfield of Dreams. Today, we now have in over 260 players. We have 10 adult division teams, 6 junior division teams, and our 2 senior teams. And right after our ceremony on Saturday, we are going to have all 3 divisions play a game at 3 brand new fields at the Superfield of Dreams. And I am encouraging everyone to come and watch the magic of our players on the field. It can only be described, Dan, as pure joy. They hit, run, field, throw, score with an exuberance and excitement that can only truly be witnessed in order to receive the impact. And that has been fortunate for us as caregivers and parents, for our friends and our volunteers, for our donors, and for our supporters. We don't need to tell them anything. The only thing we have to say to anyone thinking about becoming involved with Challenge, whether they want to volunteer or support financially or become involved in some other way, is simply to come and watch a game. You know, one of my great friends, Vinny Lobdell, I invited him and his family to come out and watch a Challenger game back in 2019. And he and his wife, and his mom, and his dad, and his kids were hooked instantly. Shortly after that experience, his then 11-year-old daughter comes up to him and says, "Dad, I want to donate my entire allowance to Challenger and the Carrier Park Field of Dreams." How awesome is that? You know, when Vinny saw the kind of impact that our children had on his daughter, he stepped in big time. And I'm sure you know, and many of your followers and viewers know, you know, Vinny is a guy who has given back to our community in spades. You know, he's supported mental health, he's supported our schools, and he stepped in and supported Syracuse Challenger Baseball's dream to build this Carrier Park Field of Dreams. That all came from watching our kids play. And that's why we encourage everybody to come and watch them play this Saturday. Those who witness that incredible event will then understand how it was that we built this magnificent sports complex for our kids.
Well, and you said, I mean, coming off of Challenger Baseball, which is, you know, all over the country, and Syracuse Challenger Baseball that can be a part of this and part of the history, and to be such a massive part of the history when we talk about the amount of kids that play in this and the amount of age groups that we have and just the history that we have in the community. The Superfield of Dreams at Carrier Park is expanding, like you said, everything that Challenger Baseball has done here in Syracuse. Because of that work, because of the community, because of those that volunteer and give of their time, energy, monetary donation, everyone coming together as a community, as one, with the leadership of God and that light of the Holy Spirit, we now have not only Challenger Baseball here at Carrier Park, but like you said, this Superfield of Dreams has the opportunity to allow so many different sports and to have a playground and to literally have a place that is vibrant with life that expands beyond baseball. What does it mean to you that this started with you trying to get Domenico in, turns into you running it, turns into overseeing baseball, and now the Carrier Park Superfield of Dreams will now be a home for multiple sports, multiple ages, expanding beyond baseball and giving us even more to have in our community so that every child and adult has a place to make a memory with those that they love?
It means that I hope that I have answered God's special vocational call for me and for my wife and for my two boys, to have played a small part in something that's way, way bigger than ourselves and make it happen so that others can thrive. Children can laugh and play again. Families can be focused and centered instead of fractured.
Yeah. There's something we do here on the show, Dom, and we'll do this in closing today. It's called Rapid Fire. It gives you an opportunity as the guest to ask some questions, and we can go back and forth. We can ask any topic, any question. Nothing is out of the realm of possibility. You get to ask the first. I will then ask the next, and we'll go back and forth for a couple. I love what you talked about putting the family back together, so I do want to mention that one more time. And now you get to ask the first question in Rapid Fire.
Hey, my question is for our Central New York community that has not witnessed Challenger Baseball or Carrier Park. Mm-hmm. Will you come out and join us? Will you be part of something that is a game changer? Will you be part of something that will positively affect our generations for years to come?
Well, that question to the community, I hope that you all answer watching and listening. And those of you that share this, I hope that you say yes. You obviously are seeing this on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, on YouTube at Wake Up Call DT. And I can say that I'll be there, and I'm happy to be there this Saturday. I know that God has led me to this moment, and I'm happy to be there. So I very much am looking forward to it. My question back to you, Dom, is what is the greatest piece of advice that you feel like the Lord put on your heart that you still use today?
Greatest piece of advice is to have faith first, and then understanding will come. It's not the other way around. Many people will go around and say, help me understand God, or help me understand religion, and then I'll have faith. Doesn't work like that. Give the assent of faith first.
I like that. I like that. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, give the assent of faith first. Conduct yourself in the way that is other person-centered. And the understanding for God's purpose for you will be revealed, as it has been for me.
Faith first, understanding comes after. Dom, what is your second question for me?
My question for you, Dan, is how can you help us spread this message of faith, family, and community that we are achieving through Challenger Baseball and through the Carrier Park Field of Dreams?
Well, I would say a few things. I would say faith, family, and community is what I've built, what I've done on for over 22 years. And I'm not your typical media person, and I never will be. I don't want to be. And what I mean by that is I conduct my interviews, but I do it differently. I am a relationship-based person, not a transactional person. People are not ATMs to me. I do not plagiarize. I do not steal other people's work. And I don't lie. I don't cheat. I don't waste time when it comes to chasing my dreams and going after what I love. And so I'll tell you that I live in a world that a lot of the media, for some odd reason, doesn't live in, but I always welcome them to join me. I do believe in God. I don't hide that. And sometimes I feel like the only person in the room. But if I gain the kingdom of heaven and lose the world, what have I lost? And I know that he turned this mic on for me to speak about him. And if I ever stopped doing that, he would shut my mic off, and rightly so. So I would tell you that there's a lot of things that I live for and care for. God is first. And I love this community. I love the people here. I would tell you that in our conversation, in my mind as we've been talking, I'm like, Dom and I are going to have to sit down for some lunch, grab a cup of tea, and have a conversation about how this is going to look. But I absolutely want to give whatever God wants me to give to Challenger Baseball, and I want to find a way to take something he put on my heart a long time ago and bring it to life with everything. I feel like what he gave me from the beginning to the experiences of people with special needs, to my desire to help in that specific area, and to always have that on my mind for many years now, to what I've built with my company, to the voice that I have and how I use that voice. I think he gave me something a long time ago, had me build something right now, and then said, I'll show you how that comes together when you sit down and have a conversation. So I think we need to have that conversation.
I'm ready for that. I'm ready to sit down to talk to you about that. Here's my follow-up question to you.
Yeah.
When are you ready to coach?
Well, I'll tell you this, and my parents are going to laugh in seeing this, is that I've been talking to my parents about, I said, listen, I have an itch. I cover sports and I'm a sports fan, but I played growing up, and there's something about coaching that I feel like I connect to coaches because there's something in my heart about it. And I've been talking to my parents and I'm like, I'm getting that itch. I'm getting that like feeling, that desire. And my dad was like, yeah, okay. How many hours do you have in the day that you don't use? But it's just funny that you said that, because coaching is something that when you have it and that desire for it and it's on your heart, there's nothing else that can simulate it. And so it's funny how I had the conversation with my dad and he was like, okay, I get it, but what time are you going to find? And then my mom said to me, people, and I've always wanted to be a father, and hopefully one day I will be. God's plan is better than mine. And I have to keep telling myself that, because it's true, even though I question him on it sometimes and I have to stop. My mom said to me, people that don't have kids always end up going and helping other people's kids. It's just something inside of them. So I would say to you that the conversation has been had with me and God and with my parents, and I've been trying to figure out how I bring coaching into my wheelhouse. So maybe this is the way.
And my voice is going to be lent into that conversation.
I understand.
So I look forward to that. And I really look forward to seeing you on Saturday. And I'm going to let you do the talking on Saturday when we have a conversation, because I want you to be able to witness and take in the magnificence of the joy that our kids and our families and our volunteers radiate into this community.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see it, more excited than I've ever been now that we've had this conversation. My final question to you, Dom, if you took over my show for the day and it was Wake Up Call with Dom Cambareri, who would be your 3 special guests that you would feature on the show, and why would you choose each of them?
Wow. That's something I've never thought about before. Oh my goodness. I guess, and do they have to be like existing people, or could they be
Anybody.
people from the past, or
Anyone.
One, I'm going to turn to the saints. The first one I think I would ask is Saint Augustine.
Okay.
And for those people who don't know Saint Augustine, Saint Augustine grew up in a family that was pretty well off. He was very well liked, chivalrous, a ladies' man, devoted his entire life to, let's put, not living in the fast lane and not caring about God or caring about the kind of effect that he had on other people.
Yeah.
His mom, St. Monica, prayed for him for 30 years that he would convert, to the Catholic faith. And when he was at his absolute lowest was when he discovered the true meaning of God and the true meaning of being Christ-centered and the true meaning of giving back to people, giving back to the community. And he ended up being one of the greatest saints and a doctor of the church. So I'd invite him.
Okay.
I would invite also George Washington, our first president and one of the founding fathers. My son Domenico and I read an incredible book about George Washington and his spiritual journey. And the book describes how, our founding father and first president survived unbelievable injuries, tragedies, and difficulties to help found this great country. And he had a special spiritual connection with God. When he was young, he received a lot of his education and training from Jesuit priests in the mid-1700s. And we believe from reading this book and reading a lot about George Washington that he was divinely chosen by God to be the leader and to be the focal point of creating this great republic. So I would invite him, secondly.
Okay.
Thirdly, I would invite one of my terrific mentors who is no longer with us, but had a great effect on me. His name is Dr. Michael O. Sawyer. Dr. Sawyer was the vice chancellor of Syracuse University for greater than 35 years and was the professor emeritus of constitutional law there. And I was one of his students, and his spirituality and his approach to every one of his students was clearly something that came from above. And I will tell you this great story about him, and it would be great if you and I had a conversation with him about this.
Yeah.
Went into his office one day and he had a card, his calling card, sitting on his desk. So, he had a number of educational, achievements and accolades and things that he had done, literally working for the university for over 50 years. Okay. He was not only my mentor, but he was mentor to thousands of students over those years. So I grabbed his calling card and I looked at it. And the only thing it said on it in the center was Michael O. Sawyer.
Yeah.
And that surprised me. Didn't have the typical, vice chancellor, or Michael O. Sawyer, Dr. Michael O. Sawyer, PhD, all the things that you might see on a calling card. So all it said was Michael O. Sawyer. But then I looked down in the lower right-hand corner. In very small print, it said, human being. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
He'd be the third. I welcome him back and we could talk to him about his life and how he was motivated by God to make a difference, literally, for thousands of other people. So those are my three people.
Well, I can appreciate that list tremendously. And like you said, you never thought of it, but you answered it thoroughly and made me want to sit down with all three of those people that you chose. So I would watch that show for sure. With that being said, this weekend is an incredible moment for Challenger Baseball, for Syracuse Challenger Baseball, for the Superfield of Dreams at Carrier Park, and for this greater community of Central and Upstate New York. I look forward to everything that is to come in our conversations, Dom. I thank you. I thank the volunteers, everyone that's been involved, everyone who's donated, and everyone who's cared about this more than anything else, because it doesn't exist without them. I thank every player then, now, and will be in the future for making Challenger Baseball something real. And I want to thank you for taking the time today on Wake Up Call to speak with me. And I look forward to our next time that we get to be together, and that will be in person, which will be a true blessing that I thank God for already. So thank you, Dom, for your time.
Thank you, Dan. Pleasure to be here. And by the way, there are no coincidences with God. We were meant to have this conversation, and we're meant to have many more.
Amen to that.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Find your way over to GG Cards and Breaks today and Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5, where you can go and be a big kid and find singles, packs, boxes, graded cards, and more, including every NFL, every NBA, and every MLB team with their own box. That, folks, when you add it all up together, is 92 franchises that the staff at GG Cards and Breaks takes the time to go through their collection to make sure that every NFL, every NBA, and every MLB team has their own box for you, the fan. There's no other place in central and upstate New York that I know that does that and goes to that length to make sure that you have your favorite teams. I can walk in there as a Jacksonville Jaguar, Arizona Diamondback, Toronto Raptor fan, and I'm going to have cards waiting for me at GG Cards and Breaks while supplies last. They also have Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, One Piece, and more. Get it all, including all of your supplies to protect your cards, travel with them, and showcase them by going to GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt is your home to be nostalgic while also to find something new. They call it Nostalgia, and you can get those strawberry hibiscus beverages, part of Nostalgia, the jalapeno ranch club chicken sandwich, as well as an original, spicy, and grilled. Find it all, including all of your favorites, at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard, where you have their double drive-through, giant parking lot, and massive brick building with plenty of seats to dine in. You can also order on the app, and you can go there for fundraising and catering. Find out more by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and clicking on the Chick-fil-A Bridge and Erie logo. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Taproom, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Taproom.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know